Hey everybody, hi, how are you? Good to see you. Hey. Alright guys, let's make this good. What do we got? League app. You guys on the trash talking your Eskimo brothers? Alright, so how are you guys? Oh, good, awesome. Great.
How'd you like the panel? I know it almost seemed a little bit toned down from last year.
I know, yeah, it was a little toned down, which is surprising. I feel like that's a better way to go though. Like we try to go top it, you know, then we're just gonna be screaming vulgarities at the crowd for
You did do that a little bit.
Oh yeah, but last year we did it more, right? We were yelling about like raping
babies. Raping a baby,
yeah. We do that. We have a tendency to do that. Yeah. So not intentionally, but who knows? You know, when you see a lot of 10-year-olds in the front audience, it does. You know, you gotta pull back a little bit.
We were talking about the Goblin Corn episode and everything earlier. Like, how many of those like you bring a lot of the jokes upon yourself and like come up with a lot of the ideas of?
Well, I think like the cool thing about the show is whenever you see like us going on a run like that, just where it's really kind of fast, that's like a moment that really has come with improv. And I feel like what Mark was saying about the corn cob thing is like, oh, when we all get excited and we all just start building on it. And you know, like I think like some of the old slams, like in an episode of the slams, like we're just always trying. Like I think it comes from trying to make each other laugh, and then we get excited by an idea. And that's kind of the best part about the show is the freedom that there isn't a set script, so we can go off on a tangent. Now, if it makes a show, is a whole different thing, and that's kind of part of the fun of watching the show, because I'm like, oh, I hope that makes it in there. Like in that Manland episode, I went into this giant thing about like how Different World kind of betrayed me because I was a huge Cosby Show fan, and I wanted to be like a different world. I wanted a Different World to be as funny as Cosby, but it wasn't, and I had a hard time with that. And this long thing, and I was like, please let that be in there. I was like, no, not in there. So there's a lot of stuff that you don't see that ends up on the editing floor, but we workshopped a huge Cosby Show Different World bit that no one will ever see. So that's kind of the fun of the show, though, is kind of seeing what will come in and what will be out.
So from the beginning of the show to where it is now, I know your characters are already written to be a certain way.
Yeah.
How much input do you guys have, and how much do you put into who your character is and who they become?
I think that we all, like, our characters on paper in the very beginning were different than what they became. And I think, like, because we got to improvise them and we all brought our own little tweaks to it. So I think there was a basis in everything. I think Andre was, like, successful, but he's still the punching bag. But I think that all grew. I think we just all kind of found ways to make it a little bit more organic in our own. So I would say that, it wasn't as much as we broke out of the characters as much as, like, we created them along the way. And as we referenced things, like I referenced, like I have a blog about magic and Don Henley, and that gets put in the show. And it's like, so like the show is constantly like cannibalizing anything that we have from improv and then, you know, feeding it back. So it's kind of it's fun that you have some control over it, but at the end of the day, your characters are going to stay the same. Like no matter what, like it's so funny, everyone's like, oh, do you think Andre's going to find love? No, definitely not, because everything will happen the same exact way. He'll get really close, and then it won't happen, and then that's like sitcom. I feel like that's like I feel like our characters will never mature past the point of who they are. I feel like that's the only thing. Only thing that's kind of changed is like Russell. He went from being like a real crazy sex addict, and he's like not that much anymore, but he kind of is. Like that's the only character I think we've kind of like been like, he's insane. Like and now we're bringing him in as a normal guy. So that is the only character that I feel like has taken a real like left turn. But you know, it's great to have Hubel on the show, so I won't complain.
I can't say there's very many normal people on the show.
Yeah, character-wise. I mean, but Hubel was carrying like a trident of dildos, so you know, it is you know, it's a little above and beyond, you know. So
would that be like?
Is there anything that you find that you're surprised to learn about yourself?
In the show? Yeah, you know, it's, I mean, like, I think that a lot of it stems from us being so comfortable and wanting to make each other laugh that sometimes, like I remember I was talking about, like, having sex and what sex felt like, and I went into this very long description of what, like, Andre thinks sex feels like, and it was like, oh, man, this is, like, it's in the show, and it's like, I guess that's what, like, this is now we're taking him back, like, has he ever had sex? It's like, so there are elements that like you improvise for fun, and it's like, oh, now it becomes part of your character. So it is, with Andre though, it's always digging himself a deeper ditch. I mean, the fact, I think the show will end with him finally realizing everything and then blowing his head off. The only way or snapping and going on Sons of Anarchy.
I think he should end the show with the highest level of succeeding.
I mean, it would be great. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Jeff and Jackie, the creators, they have no sympathy for human beings. They are gonna drive these characters into the ground. We are as I think in that same Seinfeld model of them all going to jail at the end. Like, there's no redemption for these guys.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.